Have you ever heard of the 27's Club? Or have you noticed at what age your favorite celebrities died? The 27 Club is an informal list consisting mostly of popular musicians, artists, actors, and other celebrities who died at age 27. Beginning with the deaths of several 27-year-old popular musicians between 1969 and 1971, such as Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Jim Morrison. Dying at the age of 27 came to be, and remains, a perennial subject of popular culture, celebrity journalism, and entertainment industry lore. This cultural phenomenon, which came to be known as the 27 Club, attributes special significance to popular musicians, artists, actors, and other celebrities who died at age 27. Often as a result of drug and alcohol abuse or violent means such as homicide, suicide, or transportation-related accidents. Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Jim Morrison all died at the age of 27 between 1969 and 1971. At the time, the coincidence gave rise to some comment, but according to Hendrix and Kurt Cobain's biographer, Charles R. Cross, it wasn't until Kurt Cobain took his own life in 1994 that the idea of the 27 Club arrived in the popular zeitgeist. Cross claims that the launch of the club concept can be traced to the growing influence of the Internet and sensational celebrity journalism on popular culture in the years following Cobain's death, as well as media interpretations of a statement by Cobain's mother, Wendy Freidenberg Cobain O'Connor. Quoted in the local Aberdeen, Washington, newspaper The Daily World, and subsequently carried worldwide by the Associated Press. "Now he's gone and joined that stupid club. I told him not to join that stupid club." R. Gary Patterson, chronicler of rock music urban myth, agreed with the interpretations of Cross and some contemporary journalists that Cobain's mother was referring to Hendrix, Joplin, and Morrison. Others linked her quote to then-recent heroin-related deaths of fellow young Seattle rock musicians, such as Stephanie Sargent of 7 Year Bitch and Andrew Wood of Mother Love Bone. On the other hand, Eric Siegelstad, author of the 27's, The Greatest Myth of Rock and Roll, claimed that she was referring to the death of Cobain's two uncles and his great-uncle, all of whom had committed suicide. Cross, himself, dismissed the absurd notion that Kurt Cobain intentionally timed his death so he could join the 27 Club, noting that Cobain had nearly died from drug overdoses on at least 24 occasions in the year before his death, and made several previous suicide attempts at various ages. In 2011, 17 years after Cobain's death, Amy Winehouse died at the age of 27, prompting a renewed swell of media attention devoted to the 27 Club. 3 years earlier, Winehouse's personal assistant, Alex Haynes, told the British press that Winehouse, then 25, feared she would join Jim Morrison, Brian Jones, and Kurt Cobain in dying at 27. She reckoned she would join the 27 Club of rock stars who died at that age. "She told me, I have a feeling I'm gonna die young." First member Robert Leroy Johnson, May 8, 1911 to August 16, 1938. Robert Leroy Johnson was an American blues musician and songwriter. His landmark recordings in 1936 and 1937 display a combination of singing, guitar skills, and songwriting talent that has influenced later generations of musicians. Although his recording career spanned only 7 months, he is recognized as a master of the blues, particularly the Delta blues style, and one of the most influential musicians of the 20th century. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame describes him as maybe the first ever rock star. According to legend, as a young man living on a plantation in rural Mississippi, Johnson had a tremendous desire to become a great blues musician. One of the legends often told says that Johnson was instructed to take his guitar to a crossroad near Dockery Plantation at midnight. There are claims for other sites as the location of the crossroads. There he was met by a large black man, the devil, who took the guitar and tuned it. The devil played a few songs and then returned the guitar to Johnson, giving him mastery of the instrument. This story of a deal with the devil at the crossroads mirrors the legend of Faust. In exchange for his soul, Johnson was able to create the blues for which he became famous. This story was originally associated with Delta blues musician Tommy Johnson, to whom Robert Johnson was unrelated. Tommy Johnson, who grew up near the Dockery Plantation and learned the blues from Charlie Patton and Willie Brown, first claimed to have sold his soul to the devil at a crossroads in exchange for his mastery of the guitar. Johnson died on August 16, 1938, at the age of 27, near Greenwood, Mississippi, of unknown causes. Johnson's death was not reported publicly. Almost 30 years later, Gail Dean Wardlow, a Mississippi-based musicologist researching Johnson's life, found Johnson's death certificate, which listed only the date and location, with no official cause of death. No formal autopsy had been done. Instead, a pro forma examination was done to file the death certificate, and no immediate cause of death was determined. It is likely he had congenital syphilis, and it was suspected later by medical professionals that this may have been a contributing factor in his death. However, 30 years of local oral tradition had, like the rest of his life story, built a legend which has filled in gaps in the scant historical record. Amy Jade Winehouse, September 14, 1983 to July 23, 2011. Amy Jade Winehouse was an English singer and songwriter. She was known for her deep, expressive contralto vocals and her eclectic mix of musical genres, including soul, rhythm and blues, reggae and jazz. A member of the National Youth Jazz Orchestra during her youth, Winehouse signed to Simon Fuller's 19 Management in 2002 and soon recorded a number of songs before signing a publishing deal with EMI. She also formed a working relationship with producer Salam Remy through these record publishers. Winehouse's debut album, Frank, was released in 2003. Many of the album's songs were influenced by jazz and, apart from two covers, were co-written by Winehouse. Frank was a critical success in the UK and was nominated for the Mercury Prize. The song, Stronger Than Me, won her the Ivor Novello Award for Best Contemporary Song from the British Academy of Songwriters, Composers and Authors. Winehouse released her follow-up album, Back to Black, in 2006, which went on to become an international success and one of the best-selling albums in UK history. At the 2007 Brit Awards, it was nominated for British Album of the Year and Winehouse received the award for British Female Solo Artist. The song, Rehab, won her a second Ivor Novello Award. At the 50th Grammy Awards in 2008, she won 5 awards, tying the then record for the most wins by a female artist in a single night and becoming the first British woman to win 5 Grammys. These included 3 of the General Field Big Four Grammy Awards, Best New Artist, Record of the Year and Song of the Year, for Rehab, as well as Best Pop Vocal Album. Winehouse struggled with substance abuse, mental illness and addiction. She died of alcohol poisoning on July 23, 2011, at the age of 27. Her brother believed that bulimia was also to blame. After her death, Back to Black briefly became the UK's best-selling album of the 21st century. VH1 ranked Winehouse 26th on their list of the 100 greatest women in music. Kurt Donald Cobain, February 20, 1967, c. April 5, 1994. Kurt Donald Cobain was an American musician, singer, and songwriter. He became known as the co-founder, lead vocalist, guitarist, and primary songwriter of the rock band Nirvana. Through his angst-fueled songwriting and anti-establishment persona, his compositions widened the thematic conventions of mainstream rock music. He was heralded as a spokesman of Generation X and is widely recognized as one of the most influential alternative rock musicians. Cobain formed Nirvana with Chris Novoselic and Aaron Burkhardt in 1987, establishing themselves as part of the Seattle music scene that later became known as grunge. Burkhardt was replaced by Chad Channing before the band released their debut album Bleach, 1989, on Sub Pop, after which Channing was in turn replaced by Dave Grohl. With this finalized lineup, the band signed with DGC and found commercial success with the single, Smells Like Teen Spirit, from their critically acclaimed second album Nevermind, 1991. Cobain wrote many other hit Nirvana songs such as, About a Girl, All Apologies, Aneurysm, Come As You Are, Heart-Shaped Box, In Bloom, Lithium, Something in the Way, and, You Know You're Right. Although he was hailed as the voice of Generation X following Nirvana's sudden success, he resented this and believed his message and artistic vision had been misinterpreted by the public. During his final years, Cobain struggled with a heroin addiction and chronic depression. He also struggled with the personal and professional pressures of fame, and was often in the spotlight for his tumultuous marriage to fellow musician Courtney Love, with whom he had a daughter named Frances. In March 1994, he overdosed on a combination of champagne and Rohypnol, subsequently undergoing an intervention and detox program. On April 8, 1994, he was found dead in the garage of his Seattle home at the age of 27, with police concluding that he had died around 3 days earlier from a self-inflicted shotgun wound to the head. Cobain was posthumously inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, alongside Nirvana bandmates Novoselic and Grohl, in their first year of eligibility in 2014. Rolling Stone included him on its lists of the 100 greatest songwriters of all time, 100 greatest guitarists and 100 greatest singers of all time. He was ranked 7th by MTV in the 22 Greatest Voices in Music, and was placed 20th by Hit Parader on their 2006 list of the 100 Greatest Metal Singers of All Time. White Lighter Myth. The White Lighter Curse or White Lighter Myth is an urban legend based on the 27 Club in which it is claimed several musicians and artists died while in possession of a white disposable cigarette lighter, leading such items to become associated with bad fortune. The myth is primarily based on the deaths of Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, and Kurt Cobain. The myth has been integrated with cannabis culture. Identified members. Blues musician Robert Johnson, who died in 1938, is one of the earliest popular musicians included by various sources. Despite the club's original association with the deaths of popular musicians, later sources began to link actors, artists, athletes, and other celebrities to the 27 Club. Rolling Stone included television actor Jonathan Brandis, who committed suicide in 2003, in a list of 27 Club members. Anton Yelchin, who had played in a punk rock band but was primarily known as a film actor, was also described as a member of the club upon his death in 2016. Likewise, Jean-Michel Basquiat has been linked to the club despite being known primarily as a painter, with his music career being relatively brief and obscure. Some 27's Club members: Alexander Levy, November 10, 186, January 17, 1892, Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain, Alan, Blind Owl, Wilson, Arlister, Dyke, Christian. 2023 members: Young Trappa, August 14, 1995 to February 2, 2023, Julian Figueroa, May 27, 1995 to April 2, 2023, Mobad, June 8, 1996 September 12, 2020.